Okay, so on the last episode of episode 5, or the last version of episode 5, yeah, we had some technical issues last time, and I was really not happy with it. We lost like a whole section of recording for some reason, and then the audio for some reason cut out, and it just like was me sitting in silence. There was no game audio, there was no sound effects, no music, nothing. So every time you tried to do anything, it just was shot. So here's what I did. I ran it by my wife. I said, "Wife," I said, wife, so to speak. I said, "Wife, what do you think of this?" And she said, "I like your commentary, but yeah, it's kind of weird and unsettling when there's no sound." So we're gonna try and do it again. We're doing a mulligan. We're doing it over. So I went back through and I reset it to where I was. I had to run through Sastasha again and everything, and that wasn't a big deal. Um, Also, my wife was kind enough to allow me to go pick up a headset so that I'm not just barking into my standing desk microphone. I'll be honest, I'm really not comfortable using these, and it sounds weird because I can hear myself via the voice recording. So we'll give this a shot. I figure in the good note, if it sounds good and I can work with it, then cool. If I can't, then I'll relegate this to when I play with friends and use it as a gaming microphone because my other one broke. My cat chewed on it. Didn't really help. And as anyone who's watched the series up to this point knows, yeah, that I got cats. So I'm gonna try and do the same thing I did last time with episode 5, where I do inflection. Things that are going to be missing from this episode. Any cool commentary I had from episode 5, like OG version 1, is gone. So we're going to have to work around that. Also, there was a person named, what was their name? Hang on, let me think. I rewatched it. I know at one point, what was their name? Let me think. Oh, yes, it was Lincoln. Was it Lincoln Parkour? And then I ran into a guy who was named Xbox Game Pass, and he was the one I ran through Copperbell mines with. So, pour one out for that. I'll keep the recording online if anyone wants to watch it, but I'm gonna probably put it and relegate it to like another playlist or something so that people can do it. Anyway, with all this out of the way, let's go ahead and see what Baderon wants for the second time. Also, yes, I am gonna embarrass myself by acting and talking like a pirate, so get ready to enjoy that. I don't promise anything good though. Aye, such a task was on the books, was mine. I'm afraid the ship has already sailed, friend. Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sastasha? Nod. Seem that ship has not only sailed, but now returns to harbor, none the worse for its voyage. A pity. We dragged our boots too long on this one. No matter, the wheel will turn and our chance will come. You are right, of course, but shall be no rest till we have attained our goal, lofty though it may be. To have green hair and look funny. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, lest you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every alehouse in Eorzea. We mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you have such a goal? Large or small, it matters not. Only have the star to reach for, and you will reach higher. Purpose can it sustain you through times of hardship. Keep your eye on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. You would think to stride into battle unclad, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, sir. Kind wave. Bye. Back then are ye, with all ye limbs, as a tale to tell, I wager. I know how to tell a riveting tale. Fishbacks, and there I was thinking you'd only have to crack a pirate skull or three. 7 hells, ye's turned to from 5 bloody minutes, and the scaly bastards have set up shop in your bleeding doorstep. Still sounds like you've left them in pieces, so I don't suppose you'll be carrying out whatever mischief they are planning, unless you's planning on feeding themselves to Fauna o Sestasia, of course. Any road, all's well that ends well. On behalf of Limsa, I thank ye for shedding some light on the I thought he said shredding. Shedding some light on this mystery. You've lived up to your reputation. I couldn't ask for more than that. Now, I'll bet you're dying for a rest. But just in case you're not, I'm wondering if you might be interested in taking on another job. It just so happens I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania. Fun fact, I'm from Gridania, so it works out. Seems the forest folk are in need of a venture and can get things done. For them to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't skip through a sunny glade, but after the way you dealt with a fishback infestation, I doubt if anything you can't handle. Give us a shout when you're ready, and I'll lay it out for ye. Alright, I proceeded to embarrass myself as a pirate again, so we're well on our way to making up for it, and we got unlocked Party Finder yet again, so it's looking pretty good. Alright, now we just got the airship back, and we'll be in good shape. We do get the Copperbell mine. It's not gonna be the same without Xbox Game Pass. That was such a random thing. I had a whole thing about how you should buy your own games and not use Game Pass, but it's all for naught now. If you can suffer through listening to literal dead silence, except for me talking for like an hour, then you're good to go. But I think what I'll do in this video is I'll link the OG version in this so that you can find it, and then I'll remove it from the playlist so it'll be easier to find. But yeah, no, I just didn't listen to it ahead of time. I heard myself talk and I was like, cool, and I just didn't think about it. And then there it was. Why? You know, one thing I've noticed though, since I went back, my quests aren't always on the side over there for some reason, so I gotta like work around it. Everything's like broken. I gotta figure it out. I'll be right back. Well, you know, hang on. So it turns out in my desire to play catch up, I ran over to Gridania before I actually accepted the quest. So we're working on that right now. Ready to hear about that job then? Like I said, the request comes from our sister guild in Gridania, and that's all I know. But whatever you ask to do, I somehow doubt it'll pose any trouble for a venturer that survived the Bedlam in Sestasia. If you think he might be interested, you'll want to go and have words with Mayar Mayun, my counterpart in Gridania. Good luck, mate. And now we can actually go to Gridania. I live to embarrass myself as much as possible. By the way, there's like one guy that's been watching my videos. I don't have his name off the top of my head. I could look it up. So if you're out there, I mean, I've had a couple people. You know what? I'll look it up. Hang on. I don't want to be that like rude. Like someone has actually taken the time to watch my videos, which, I mean, again, was not expecting anybody to actually watch these. This was mostly just like I said before, is mostly for me. But you know, I was like, all right, hang on. Let's see. Okay, his name is Kyoji, looks like, Kyojii, and he's actually been leaving like constructive criticism and like watching through and leaving timestamps and stuff. I will do my best to warrant or you know, heed the advice that I've been given. I appreciate the constructive criticism, I'm not gonna lie. Not to say that I'm also not stubborn and difficult, so roll with me on that, but I just want to say thank you, it's cool. Alright, let's see if I can actually talk to Mother Mayun now that I'm not dumb and actually paying attention. Take a seat wherever you like, friend. Our waitress will come and take your... Oh, it's you, Tiberius. 'Tis so good to see you again. What's that? Hear a Battaran's suggestion, you say? The foul-mouthed rogue sends word that the adventurer might be along for the job, and it turns out to be you. Well, this makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? With regard to the task in question, there's a fair bit to tell. Let me know when you're ready to hear the details, and I shall brief you. Ready for that briefing? Good. Now then, here's the long and short of it. Begs pardon for interrupting, Mayun, but our need grows ever more pressing. Have none stepped forward? Good evening to you too, Bowlord. You need... Bowlord is such a funny title. You need, but must be pressing indeed, for you to honor us with a visit. The good news is, your journey hasn't been wasted. I've pleased to report that we have a volunteer at last, and one who comes highly recommended at that. Well, if isn't our very own man for all seasons, says the masked man. You clearly have a knack for appearing when you're most needed. Tiberius, my thanks for answering the call. Now, time is of the essence, so I'll proceed directly to the heart of the matter. We wish you to nip a potential thread in Gridania in the bud. Beneath the central shroud there lies an underground burial site called the Tamdar Deepcroft. The place was once a Gelmoran settlement, but we Gridanians have long since interred our dead there. Of late, however, shadowy figures have been seen sulking around the Deepcroft, and with ever-increasing regularity. Based on the accounts of various witnesses, we suspect that these individuals belong to the Lambs of Dalamud, a doomsday cult which sprung up prior to the calamity. These zealots have proven themselves dangerous in the past, so we leave them to their own devices at our peril. Ordinarily, I would have dispatched my best men to scour the Deepcroft with orders to flush the cultists out. Alas, the calamity decimated our ranks, and the limited forces at my disposal constantly are required to keep the Ixal at bay. Since we thwarted their attack on the Guardian Tree, the Birdmen have not allowed a moment's respite. They have probed every ilm of our defenses in search of weakness, compelling me to spread our forces far more thinly than I would like. The situation so being, we have no choice but to entrust the task of dealing with the Lambs of Dalamud to others. Can we rely to handle this matter, Tiberius? You have my gratitude. Once you've seen to the preparations, pray make your way to the Deepcroft and identify yourself to the guard post at the entrance. He will apprise you of the latest developments. That is all. Be careful out there, you hear? May the crystal guide and keep you. Alright. So we're back on our way to Tamdar Deepcroft. I think last time I realized I should have just taken a Chocobo Porter, so we're actually going to take a Chocobo Porter this time. So I believe last time in my previous version of this video, I mentioned that Tamdar Deepcroft happens to be a friend of mine's favorite dungeon, and I don't mean favorite in a literal sense. I mean in a to his chagrin sense. My friend is a bit of an edgelord, love him to death, but he goes, everyone is too nice and too happy in Final Fantasy XIV. I don't want to do it. But when we were doing early roulettes, and we're talking around the time of like Heaven's Ward, we just got Tamdar Deepcroft all of the time, so he would just go, oh man, can't wait to go back into Tamdar Deepcroft, it's the best dungeon in the game. And so it by default became like this joke that he loves Tamdar Deepcroft. He hasn't played in years and doesn't really care about the game at all, but anytime I end up in a roulette and end up in Tamdar Deepcroft by chance or whatever, I always send like a clip of it to him. Like the other day when I just happened to end up in Tamdar Deepcroft, and I sent him a clip of like, this could be you, but you keep running away. So, therein, so we're going on quite an adventure. This is some significance within my group of friends, so to speak. I didn't mean to do that. Doesn't count. Doesn't count if I didn't mean to do it. That's the rules. Man, Rygo. So my Mount Rygo, that thing, man, I had to grind PvP so hard in that event that they had. The thing is, they've done that event a couple times now, but like at the first time that it came out, I wasn't actually sure that it was gonna. I was like, because I had never really played PvP. It actually made me have like a real appreciation for PvP that I didn't have before. But Brygo, he sits in my Mount Roulette because he has like significance to me because he was the hardest one to get at the time. This is like way before like Crystalline Conflict or any of that stuff. I think the Feast was out, but that's about it. So, all right, as is. Oh, dude, I want that so bad. To get the Rathalos mount is such a man. What a time sink. You got to get like 100 of those things. I think I've got 2 of them. Anyway, so we'll get this queued up, and then I'll do the usual. I'll give it 30 seconds. If it pops, cool. If it doesn't, then I'll pause the recording and then resume it when it pops. You're Tiberius Fox, I take it. Thanks for helping us out, friend. No doubt the Bowlord has already informed you, but your task is to enter the Deepcroft and purge it of the Lambs of Dalamud. In case you're unfamiliar with them, the cult emerged shortly before the Calamity put an end to the Sixth Astral Era. Cultists took the lesser moon Dalamud for their god, believing that it would deliver them from the devastation. And so they were rather disappointed when Dalamud exploded into 1,000 flaming pieces before it could complete its descent. Now, having seen their god turn to ash, one would think the cultists might feel moved to question their faith. On the contrary, it served only to stoke the flames of their fanaticism. The Lambs of Dalamud are convinced that heretics, that is to say everyone but them, interfered with the coming of their Lord and Savior, and that's now their sacred duty to avenge him. Whatever it is you're doing in the Deepcroft, you may be sure, or sorry, whatever it is they're doing in the Deepcroft, you may be sure to no good will come of it. For the sake of Gridania and Eorzea at large, put an end to their madness. Let's do it. So other fun facts real quick while I'm waiting. You may have noticed me clearing that. So I went back through Sastasha, and I thought, I'm just going to do it bots. I don't want to wait for a queue or anything. And it didn't occur to me to do it unsynced. So I did the whole dungeon, but I realized that you were supposed to talk. Like I said, I was so impatient trying to hurry up and get through it to catch up so I could get back to this point that like I wasn't paying attention to anything. And so I ran through all of Sastasha with bots, only to find that I hadn't actually got to the point where you were supposed to go through Sastasha with bots, or with, like, complete Sastasha. So I got through the whole dungeon, got out, then talked to the guy, and it was like, yeah, complete Sastasha. And I was like, there's no way I just did the whole dungeon without it. So then I thought, wait a minute. Oh yeah, that's right, doing stuff unsynced. So I ran Sastasha unsynced and did like 4.5 minutes, just running through and killing everything, which was also comical. But I hadn't cleared the thing, so I didn't want to end up going into Tam Tower Deepcroft unsynced. That would be a faux pas. So anyway, I'll pause the recording for now, and then I'll resume it when we get a dungeon going. Alright, we're going back in. Let's do it. I never understand the actual whole thing with the queue system. You think that it like does it in like a... Because I know when you're doing roulettes, it does a certain thing. But it's like, it seems like when... I don't know. I'm trying to finish my thought, but my wife's texting me. Basically what I'm saying is, like when you're in a roulette queue, right? Because one of the things that the other guy was saying is that I need to finish my thought. Is that you think that... Sorry, I'm trying to focus on too many things at the same time. You think that it's gonna like have you in a queue, like you get into a queue and it's like, okay, I got in, and then it'll find someone for me eventually. Like I have to be in a line somewhere, but it seems like it's completely random and arbitrary, which is kind of rough. You know, it's funny, last time I did this dungeon, the Dark Knight was the tank, and he was very gung-ho like this. And this is also another gung-ho Dark Knight. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. It's like only Pepperidge Farm remembers. And the only reason I even bring that up is because they're all sprouts, and like my brain says sprouts don't go gung-ho, but apparently the new ones do. I'm just saying, I think I recall saying the exact same thing in the other version of this video. Although that last tank, dude, he pulled like the whole dungeon. It was crazy. Or at least just a lot, anyway. I rarely ever use that jump away skill. I used it a lot back in the day when I first started playing like Archer, but like I don't use it at all now. And every time I use it, I always end up fumbling and setting myself somewhere I didn't plan on being. Tank's getting unhealthy. Tank's getting unhealthy. Oh boy. I think I mentioned at one point that I haven't done any other classes except like the ones I mentioned early on. But I have a secret respect for Dragoons, which comes from Final Fantasy IX. I loved Final Fantasy IX, and the Dragoon chick, she's like a rat girl thing. I haven't played the game in years, so forgive me for not remembering names. But she single-handedly saved like my entire run in that game. And so whenever I see Dragoons, I go, man, I can do that, but it's like, in fact, I might still level one at some point. I leveled one a little bit. I'm like in the 40s, I think. But I haven't actually, you know, like I haven't actually gone all the way through it. So, but I love Dragoons. I like the jumping thing. The whole thing's really cool. If it wasn't for the weebness of Ninja, I probably would have played a Dragoon instead. Some of these inner hallway camera angles are to die for. I love it. Granted, as they say, it's like, you know, user error or whatever, which I'm rife with, but it's funny.
fun to me when I watch healers play, especially like a friend of mine named Mike. He'll let people get like to the inch of their death, like dying. If they don't die, it's fine. Me, meanwhile, I'm like, I'm going to make sure you are topped off at all times. Never even risk you dying. And if you get close to dying, I panic. I don't pretend I'm good at it. It's just, at least I will heal. Like there was a while where we all had like this anxiety, and my friends and I, it's like none of us can heal. Like what if we're not good enough? And now it's like, who cares? If he die, now it's the Dolph Lundgren. If he dies me, right? Like no one cares. It's like maybe if you're in high-end content or something, but it's like I don't care. If you die, well, I'm sorry. Are you mad? You died in a video game? Like, you know. The last one, they pulled everything and then they didn't. They waited for me to go through the cutscene. Let's see if these ones will do it, because you know, obviously we're gonna rewatch the cutscene. So let's see what happens after we get through this. Because I was like, I wrote them off. I was like, they're gonna go without me, and then they did, and I was like, what? They didn't go without me? That's crazy. So we'll see. Can we go 2 for 2? Can we do it? Alright, moment of truth. We come out of this cutscene, if they're already fighting, it's all over. If they don't, then they're absolute chads like the last group I did this with. Who summons me from the void to reside within this vessel? It is I, Magneto. Oh my gosh, they waited. Amazing. New players, man, new players are where it's at. They're patient for some reason, I think, maybe. I don't know what happened, but I suddenly noticed the noise that it makes when you push a skill that's not ready, and I can't unhear it. All I hear is that noise now. Maybe it's because I'm wearing headphones, I don't know. But I can just hear it all the time now. It's just like, it's almost like deafening. Alright, that's another one down. We get through Copperbell Mines and we're back to where we were, and we just we'll get out to the Waking Sands and everything else. I mean, I've never been to the Waking Sands, it's crazy. Dude, Cat Girl, like full-on blown Cat Girl Dragoon is kind of weird looking. I ain't throwing shade, just saying, it's like, kind of throws it. What, no player comms? Dirty. I'll be upset as though it's a big deal. Man, I know I've said it before, but I love the music in the Shroud. It really is just like some of the best music this game. Like, there's a lot of music that gets you amped up, but this is the one. Watch is always gotta be going off. Let me know about alarms. Well, it's 10:30. You gotta know about that thing. For those wondering, I'm sure all inquiring minds want to know. Just remind me that recycling goes out on Wednesdays, but it's only every other Wednesday, so it doesn't even apply. You know, it's crazy. I was looking at 1.0 footage the other day, and one thing I always forget about 1.0, that, you know, I didn't play 1.0, but you look at aetherites, and you go, wow, these big crystals that sit in the middle of town. They're big, but they're not, like, super massive. But you look at the aetherites in 1.0, and they're, like, I don't know, the size of a small tree, like, maybe? I don't know how to describe it. They look like a Christmas tree that's sitting in your house. They're, like, 5-6 foot tall. And you're like, what? It's like, just like someone's like decoration in the middle of their camp, not a huge major traveling thing. Then they clearly were like, you know, we should make this thing more ornate so you can see it from like a distance and you know what it is and everything else. Instead of this like static crystal that just sits in the middle of a small settlement. Oh no, it's raining and I didn't want to put on my parasol. Trying to pull the left trigger while also pulling the bumper over to make myself sprint is harder while holding that. Alright, let's do this. By God, is that Lincoln parkour? It is. Man, this day actually could recover. I don't know what to say. First Lincoln parkour. Next, if we can just run into Xbox Game Pass, we're in good shape. Alright, see what Mother My Own says. Welcome back, Tiberius. I'm reliably informed that you made your foray into the Deepcroft was a success. Nor did I expect anything less. You've made such a habit of succeeding that it's difficult to take your talents for granted. Rest assured, however, Mother is impressed, even if she isn't surprised. That's totally fine with me, lady. Lord Lewin asked me to pass on his thanks. He can't be seen because he's in a mask. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio. I must say, it's something of relief to be able to call upon such a capable adventurer. Sadly, death has become an ever more common occurrence within our fraternity of late. Times being what they are, the guild is constantly inundated with petitions, and we are hard-pressed to find enough hands to deal with them all. While this means no shortage of work for able souls such as yourself, it also provides ample opportunity for the inexperienced to overreach themselves with predictable consequences. Ah, as if to illustrate the point. Yeah, I totally thought this was like the lady who was in Palace of the Dead. I don't know if it is or not, but I kept thinking it was. Avere's gone, and it's all your fault. If you hadn't taken you an age to heal him, he would still be alive. Also, you didn't skip Soar, and everyone who's anyone knows that you have to skip Soar. But I tried. He bolted out of range before I could finish the spell. He could have been so hard-pressed in the first place. We should have done more to lighten his burden. Bah, to hell's with that pathetic excuse for a party. I'm leaving. It'd be too soon if I never see your faces again. Goodbye and good riddance. Should have skipped Soar. I'm leaving as well. I doubt this comes as any surprise, but I never liked you. I only suffered you for your healing, but you couldn't even do the one thing right. Cruel though this may sound, you brought this upon yourself. Oh, and by the way, some parting advice, get rid of Avere's head. Bury it, cremate it, do whatever the hell you like with it, but for God's sake, stop carrying it around. It's just get rid of it, alright? I just think it's very weird, like, is she carrying dude's head? That's why I keep thinking, is this the broad from Palace of the Dead? Because I don't remember it well enough, but it might be. Well, wait, don't leave me alone, please. I'm so sorry, Avere, please forgive me. Well, Avere is dead. Scenes like this have become all too common. That makes a dozen times in half as many days. Now, you see why I'm grateful for adventures of your experience. I can send men like you on a mission without worrying that you might not return. Well, not so much at any rate. Speaking of missions, I would entrust you with another. About a bell ago, I received a message from my counterpart, Ulda. She seeks the services of a reliable adventurer, and you are nothing if not reliable.
If you think you might be interested in the task, say the word, and I will be glad to share the details with you. And unlike last time, I'll actually remember to wait and get the quest this time. So, you're not adverse to taking a little trip? Wonderful. As I mentioned earlier, the request comes from the Adventurers Guild in Ul'dah. Once you arrive, seek out Momodi, the proprietress of the quicksand. Think of her as Sultan's version of myself. Chances are she'll send you into the midst of danger, but I have very good confidence. I'm just paraphrasing when I mess it up, so. That you'll pull through unscathed. Now, off you go, Tiberius, and good luck. Yeah, if you haven't gathered yet, when I flummox my words, I just ad-lib and, try to, paraphrase. Just yeah, it's close enough. If you really want to know, you can read it, alright? That's the rules. I'm sticking to it. So it's just occurred to me what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the original OG episode 5 unlisted, or private. I'll probably switch to unlisted. And then what I'll do is once I get it, I'll pick a copy of the link in it. And that way, the only way you can actually find it is if you go into the link that's in the video. So if you want to see the OG episode 5, you will find it in the link in this video. I will put it in there. Unless I'm a complete failure and I forget. But, let's assume I'm not. So I appreciate the benefit of the doubt on that one. Welcome to the quicksand, friend. I'm a tad busy right now. If you wouldn't mind showing yourself to... Judging by your determined expression, I take it you ain't here for ale. Are you called Tiberius Fox by any chance? Mayun sent word that you're reporting for duty. She also made a point of calling you adventurer of the moment. That ain't no small praise coming from her. But you didn't come all the way here to listen to my prattle. Doubtless you're eager to get started, so let's talk business, shall we? The petitioner ought to be arriving any moment now. Gods almighty, another second under the sun and I wouldn't have been a set afire. A tankard of ale if you'd be so kind. Excellent timing, Papa Shan. It just so happens the adventurer will be handing your petition is here. It's the pizza man, Papa Shan. I will continue to make this joke even though I made it in the original version of this. Better pizza, better, Lalafels, Papa Shan. No, this strapping young lad is very much lauded adventurer, is he? Marvelous, marvelous. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, good sir. I am Papa Shan, formerly of Papa Shan's Pizza of the Sultan's Sworn. I thank you for agreeing to lend us your aid. Mayhap you'd apprise Tiberius of his mission? Can't speak. Yes, of course. The petition in question was submitted by an acquaintance of mine, Amangina and Sons Mineral Concern. It relates to the unfortunate development of the Copperbell mines. To be plain, giants have seized control of the place. These giants are a clan of couldn't pronounce these before, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it now. Hecatoncheres. I'm going to just call them Hecatons, because I'm not doing that. As the Hecatons, fearsome creatures who were sealed within the deepest depths of the mines during the bygone Thorn dynasty. Alas, it seems they managed to break through a layer of rock which was served to imprison them, and now prowl the tunnels where the miners ply their trade. The creatures are justifiably angry about their treatment at the hands of our ancestors, and their presence has forced the suspension of all mining activities on the site. It's no wonder they're angry. Didn't the Thorn dynasty come to an end over 300 years ago? You know your history well, milady. The people of that age used the Hecatons to work their mines. By the way of enchanted helms, they were able to bind the ferocious creatures to their will, but off the way of such tales, these enchantments eventually failed, and the slaves rose up against their masters.
In the desperate bid to contain the unbridled fury of the Hecatons, our ancestors induced the collapse of the mine's lowermost levels. So it was that the great giant revolt was ended, buried beneath the 100,000 tons of rock. Well now, that's got me thinking. I seem to recall there being an article about the Copperbell in the Mithril Eye a fortnight or so ago. It said the mines were being reopened so as to meet rising demand for building materials. Like it as not, our boys dug too deep and freed the giants. Gods, to think the poor creatures are still alive and kicking after 3 centuries. That's a long time to nurse a grudge. They must be seething. Indeed, that makes them a danger to us all. There's no mining at Copperbell as long as they remain. For the sake of both peace and prosperity, they must be subdued. This is the task which we would have you undertake. I'm not to deny that your mission will be rife with danger, but our need is great, so I beg of you, put an end to this sorry business. Yeah, sure, why not? Gods bless you. I feared you might have your reservation, but I assure you it is for the best. In that case, do you know the Copperbell... In the case you don't know, the Copperbell mines are in western Thanaland. Do take care, you hear? And one last thing before you depart. An employee of Almagena signed Amagena and Sons is presently at the quicksand. The fellow's name is Painted Mesa, and he knows Copperbell mines well. It would may behoove you to seek his counsel. I will talk to the masked man. Looking for Painted Mesa? You found him. So you're the adventurer who's volunteered to deal with the mess down in Copperbell, are you? You've got guts, mate. I just hope that you've got skills to go with them, because things ain't pretty down there. The Hecatons left the place in right state, and nary a week after mine resumed. I don't know if you know this, but Copperbell has an old Sorry, I got completely distracted by that, Dave. Or was I? If I hadn't been for the shortage of materials needed for rebuilding the effort, the concern would never have thought to reopen it. We knew full well about the giants beforehand, but the project went ahead anyway. I mean, nothing could possibly survive being buried under a mountain's worth of rock for 3 centuries, right? Wrong. Our miners dug up more than they bargained for. One swing of a pickaxe too many, and they found themselves in company of giants. Unless we can subdue them, the nation's glorious recovery will grind to a halt without to build with. The stone torches keeping watch over the entrance in case the giants fancy some sunlight or fresh air. One of them will be able to show the way in. The hope of the nations rests on you, friend. Best of luck. One thing I want to apologize for is I've been trying to work on my inflection, but by doing so I know I'm still speaking really fast, but I don't know how to do inflection without... I tried to tell my wife this. I said, if I can do inflection or I can do like well-enunciated, slow, like well-read things, but I can't really do both. I think it's Camp Dry Bone. Well, I'm gonna check this, hang on. I knew it, it's not Camp Dry Bone, it's Horizon. But yeah, I can't do both, so I speak fast with enunciate with, you know, with like some inflection, or I have a hard time doing both. I'm kind of, I get tunnel vision that way. Like I can do one or the other, and then I realize I'm speaking super fast with inflection, or I'm speaking slowly and enunciating, and I'm not very good at doing both. I think one of the things I mentioned in my last episode is one of the things I'll do is when I see like the fates that are out here, even like the little like low level ones, I'll go and I'll start fighting in them just because I think it's an element of the game that makes it feel more alive. I was more in depth in the other version of this video, but basically just to say that like when you see fates out in the middle of nowhere, when they just sit there and nobody interacts with them, it kind of makes me sad. And so when I see a fate, like I'll go and interact with it and I'll do it, even though I don't need it. It's not going to give me any experience or anything. Just to like kind of, it just makes the world come alive for me, and it's just like a little thing I enjoy. When I was going through here last time, there's like fates everywhere when I was telling the story, so roll with me on that one. But who knows, maybe we'll eventually catch back up to Xbox Game Pass, the best and worst name I've seen in some time. And this quest is level 17, which means in just a few levels I can start riding my chocobo releases. I'll introduce you to my fancy chocobo. I think he was in one of the other earlier cutscenes because I already had him summoned, but
As we refine this, that's kind of coming together. But I'll like formally introduce my Chocobo, the absolute Chad who's been wearing like the same gear for literal years. I'm so hurt inside. It's not gonna be the same without. This place was like absolutely covered with people yesterday. There were tons of people here yesterday. There's been an incident inside Copperbell Mines. We're here to ensure that its effects are contained, but for your own safety, it's just you who stay well away from here. What? You're the adventurer who's volunteered to quell the Hectons? I didn't think Papa Jean would be able to find someone so quickly, if at all. The Giants are content to wreak havoc inside the mines for now, but it's only a matter of time before they think to come in outside. The sooner you see to them, the better. We better make ready. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Make ready as best you can, and enter at will. All right, time for the regular old thing where we, do what we're gonna do. So. I was like that it just like I can't tell you how many times I've gone through and I go to line up for a quest of some kind, and while I'm doing that, it goes, oh, yeah, 5 minutes, and then that 5 minutes becomes like 90 minutes of me just sitting in queue. That's what I was trying to talk about earlier. I just got distracted, I apologize. But no, like, so when you're in a roulette, something I find interesting about a roulette is you're in a roulette, and the roulette will tell you you're like 8th in line. And I understand roulettes are a little bit different, but I just think, like, if you're in queue for a dungeon, right, and someone else is queuing in a leveling roulette, it matches you up. So it would tell you, like, you're 4th in line for someone being in a leveling roulette, right? So, like, if I'm queuing for this, if it told me I was 12th in line, which means there are 12 other people trying to do quests that are getting lined up with leveling roulettes, that would make sense to me. But it doesn't do that. And I just, like, instead, this could take another 30 seconds. It could take 4 hours. It seems completely random. Like, the game is not actively trying to find another person. I just find that kind of strange. Like, I feel like it could be better done, and also it could be better at communicating to the player, like, what's actually happening. Like, do I have a chance in hell of actually getting into this dungeon, or am I just wasting my time? Because I can't tell you how many hours I've just sat climbing Kugane Tower, waiting for dungeons to pop. Also, I mentioned that earlier. The reason I climb Kugane Tower, just besides just fun, is I've got the top of Kugane Tower. I've been there, and I've got the sightseeing point. There's the sightseeing point at the bottom where you have to jump off and land on top of, like, the little, like, I don't know, stall or whatever it is, like, post. And I haven't made that. I've been so many close, like 3 or 4 times. But first, I actually have to climb to the top and be good at it, and a lot of times I'm not. So, anyway, I'm going to hold the recording, and then we'll resume when it pops. All right, we finally got it. Sorry, I was completely unprepared. It was probably like 15 minutes or something like that, and I just zoned out, started watching videos on YouTube. So we'll see if I paid attention more than the tank that queued up. Bro, come on. I'll take that guy over there. He's a gladiator, ravaging, whatever. He could do it. No! Do you see me laying on the ground? The shame I feel for that tank that was in queue. That's the level of shame I feel. At least I can correct myself. It was not 15 minutes. It was like 13 minutes. But still. Watching YouTube, hanging out, chilling out, max, relaxing, all cool. And then a tank and his lack of paying attention. Now watch Ravaging Sun and Devia run around with some goblins. I was hoping it might pop instantly again. It's not going to do it, is it? No, it's not. Alright. I'll be back. In there. Alright, we're back at about 17 minutes. Trick Newton, I think, showed up here. I don't know what part I had. I was talking and I realized I wasn't holding the key, so. But, yeah, if Trick Newton's in here, he just showed up and was watching me laying on the floor. So, he'll be happy to see that I was there, just staring at my body as I laid on the floor. But, alright, it's time to Copperbell Mines.
I am sad to notice that he is in fact not here. But I do have El Chapo, and that'll work. I don't know how I feel about the motif of like people being able to wear like cargo pants and like a ball cap. There's something about it that kind of ruins like the immersion a little bit, but maybe I'm crazy. Oh lord, I don't even know, those guys are turning back, that's weird. Okay. I know when I was doing this earlier, I was saying that they used to have like barriers in here you had to fight and break down. I think I went through a whole thing about how you have interesting mechanics, and instead of... I think that was in the last episode that I had memory doing. But basically I was saying that like, you have this opportunity to like retool something and make it better, but instead of making it work better, you just go, oh, I'm just gonna remove it, it's fine. I'm not even remotely reading what they're saying, I probably should. I think they're talking about mounts or whatever, but I'm not paying attention. I'm more focused on the fact this guy's dragging like half the dungeon, but they turn around? I've never seen them turn around before. Yeah, time slicing is not a skill of mine. So the ability to like play and then quickly blast out like an entire type thing is not a thing I can do. I was the one that put the blasting thing last time. I'm not doing it this time. But yeah, this battle used to have like he dropped down and then other things dropped down and they blew up stuff. And now they're like, nah man, let's just put it like in an arena. Unless I'm misremembering. I'm pretty sure it's just like, yeah, no, just put it in an arena, it'll be fine. And that's it. You know? Like they did do some interesting stuff, but like not like this one. Yeah, when everyone else is like dressed up in like mystical stuff, and then somebody who looks like they're a stagehand for a K-pop band shows up, like, yeah, it's cool that you can look like that, and that's totally fine. Like, I don't want to be that guy that's like, no, you can't look that way, but it just kind of, I don't know. At least if you find like the futury stuff, you go, oh, it's futury stuff because we're in a futury area, you know, or a futury like things going on. But just like random guy wearing a ball cap, this is like, all right, I guess. As I mentioned last time I did this as well, this fight they absolutely did improve though. Like, even if it's a pretty simple fight, like they had all this mechanic, like you had to go get a bomb and like make the bomb explode in a certain space to blow him up, but then everyone was just standing around the whole time. And so I just realized I'm not attacking. That shows you what I was talking about. No, you used to never have to attack. You just stood there while the tank tried to kite him around. And I did that so many times, part of the reason. I was too busy talking instead of paying attention to what we were doing. So I'm gonna stop talking and just tell the fatigue. It is interesting to notice how people are different. When we went through here last time, they pulled every single person. Not at once, but we didn't miss anybody. We went through and like killed everything. This time it's like, no, we get what we need and then we move on. We're going now. Let's go. No, but correct me if I'm wrong. This is the dungeon, if anyone remembers that's watching this, but this was the one where, like, enemy slaves no more, free. There you go. That's my narrating. The enemies like were trying to break in from the side. So you were trying to burn down the boss before they broke into the room. It was almost like a passive DPS check where you had to fight him and then break him down before that because there were dudes breaking on the other side of the room. So, yeah. It's just interesting. Last time, though, I did not LB him. I'm absolutely LBing him this time. Yeah. Last time I tried to LB him, and it's just like, the fight ended before it even went off. That's the other one that looks like you die with the little mask thing. I actually get a chance to get an orchestration roll I don't have, and it goes, no. Oh well. Back to Painted Mesa. So we can tell them about how successful we are.
don't know if I mentioned it. I think I did last time. That corner back there, you always slow down when you go down around it, like way down, and I never understood why. Like, you know, it's like it seems like a lot of the other paths will actually like cut down and stuff, but that one always still slows way down, and I never understood why. But just wondering if it's something to do with the pathing or like something like that, or like I don't know. It just throws me when I see it. I just remember what happens. Okay, so we get back to town, and then it's a solo duty. It's got the gold light or whatever, which remember last time I was totally not expecting it to happen. And then there was this whole debacle that transpires, which I'm looking forward to. Dude say you gotta always be smudging. I guess if his name is Smudge Lord, I mean, you do you, man. If smudging is your game, then play it. Ah, the Conqueror of the Copperbell returns. Thanks to you for our mining operations can resume, and Ul'dah will have the materials she needs to rebuild. The entire nation's in your debt, friend. I'll share the good tidings with Papa Shan next time I see him. As for you, you'll want to report to Momodi. It'll do the woman well to see you alive and in one piece. Sorry, I'm getting a little tired, and so my brain's like going to fuzz. So, I'm just trying to drill this out. Ah! It says no, but I heard ah, so. Shut your mouth, you thieving little swine. You stole from me, don't even think to deny it, said man with douchey haircut. Please, sir, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this, paid for it with me own coin. What rot, you refugees are all the same. Couldn't afford maggoty old mole meat, much less a choice cut of dodo. I'm going to say it one more time. Give back what you stole, and I'll make you wish you'd never set foot in this town. By rights, I should turn you over to the brass blades, you know, help keep the streets safe for the law-abiding citizens, but I'm a reasonable man. If you agree to serve me in whatever capacity I require, the authorities needn't hear of your crime. But I ain't done nothing wrong. 12 is me witness. Cowards, the lot of you, except for me and my cool hat. But please, adventurer, help me, I beg of ye. I swear on my mother's grave, I didn't steal nothing. I bought this with the coin I saved. Sob, I said sob, that's terrible. I only wanted to treat my children to a decent meal. I'm out here reading stage directions, I'm sorry. My friend Rick just used to spam that emote constantly. And who the hells are you when you're at home? The dog's master? I've had enough of this mummer's farce. You lot, teach them a lesson. That guy's got stars in his face because he gets beat up a lot, you know it.
I'm telling you, man, if I saw that bow, I would go, nah, man. That ain't that ain't worth getting tangled with. That ain't a normal bow. I ain't getting paid enough for this. That's exactly right. You aren't. Although you're getting paid enough for the matching outfits. Hey, where the hells do you think you're going? Thank ye, kind adventurer. Thank ye thrice over. And then Heidelin was like, man, you know what you really gotta see? This broad bought some meat once. It's absolutely crucial to the safety of the star. I remember the one guy in this reminds me of someone who talks like they're in an infomercial. I'd swear there are more refugees. I'd swear there were more refugees than when I last looked. The other guy. And you wouldn't be mistaken. But it's been 5 years since Calamity. Why are they only coming here now? It's simple, really. While a number of hamlets survived the immediate aftermath of Calamity, more were no longer able to support their communities. The residents found their lands had either been rendered barren or cut off from trade routes. The problems like those aren't easily solved, though when they tried to make the best of it, it was only a matter of time before they were forced to abandon their homes and seek a new life in the city. I see. But the calamity affected the whole realm, didn't it? The same thing happened in the other cities? If the talk is true, then yes. Though perhaps our situation is more pronounced, Ul'dah has a reputation for being prosperous, so it's natural the refugees would try their luck here first. My heart goes out to them, it truly does, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't apprehensive. I hope their presence doesn't foment lawlessness in the city. Well, things do take a turn for the worse. We always have the immortal flames. I dare say the brass blades would welcome their help. The heroes who fought the Garlean Empire patrolling the streets for riffraff? It may well come to that. Impoverished and desperate as they are, you may be sure that some of the refugees will turn to crime. You know this place is like, if you've no coin, you've no hope. What will become of our city? Not all refugees are bad, mind you. Some are able to find employment and lead honest lives. Dodo tenderloins, get your dodo tenderloins, guaranteed cheapest in Thanalan. Thank you for your custom, madam. Please come again. Looking around, you'd think that Ul'dah was well on its way to recovery. But peer through the veil of prosperity and you'll see no end to misery and suffering. You tell it like it is, man. Sir, are you alright? I wake up while standing up in the middle of the street. What now? You mean to threaten a defenseless citizen? What? Saw her buy that meat, you say? That's absurd. As did I. Leave the poor woman alone, you damnable vulture. Who said that? I will overlook this, but just this once. God's bless the adventurer. If you hadn't come along when you did, who knows what that monster might have done. I don't bear thinking about. Case closed. Hello again. We have been keeping close eye on you ever since you left Gridania. No, I'm not making that his voice, but it's funny to apply it is. You discharged your duty as envoy impeccably, and never once faltered in the face of a myriad of dangers. But more importantly, you were always ready to help those in need, even if you didn't stand to earn a gil by doing so. You are possessed by all the qualities we seek in an adventurer, and this we are convinced.
even if you were kind of dragged into that business with the dodo meat. Yes, thank you, Ida. Ahem, there's the matter of your gift. I dare say you are curious as to the nature of the vision you bore witness to moments ago. Well, we can help you understand it. You're not the only one with that power, you know. We have a friend who has it too, and we'd love for you to meet her. And a meeting her is only the beginning, for if we would also have you lend your strength to our cause, in return we should be glad to assist your adventuring endeavors in whatever way we are able. Should you decide to take us up on our offer, I sincerely hope you will pray to speak Momodi. The proprietress of the quicksand is a good friend of ours. She will tell you where to find us. Tiny wave. Wait a minute. We haven't even told you the name of our order. We're the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, Defenders of Justice. Oh, but don't tell anyone except for Momodi. She knows already. I just think it's funny that, like, Lise is pretending not to be Lise, but just acts like a bobblehead. Let's see what Momodi's got to share about the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Scenes like that are becoming ever more common, I'm afraid. Don't worry, though. If you work hard, you'll probably be alright. Saying that if you ever find yourself in a spot of bother, come and see me. Just don't go pestering me every time you graze your knee, eh? Of course, I do enjoy hearing the tale of gentlemen's woes with womenfolk from time to time. This game's gonna become like Skyrim, or sorry, like Oblivion, where it's just the same like 3 voice actors over and over again. It's the same 3 voices. Ah, Tiberius, sorry to keep you waiting. I was just providing guidance to a fresh off the carriage adventurer. But gods, good to see you safe and well. To look at you, no one would ever guess you'd been had it with giants in the dark. You're every ilm adventurer Mion said you'd be, Tiberius. The station master will be overjoyed when he hears the news. Oh, before I forget, there's a lass here who wants a word with you. Didn't actually know your name, but hearing her description, I knew you were who she meant right away. Thank you for sparing your time. I realize you don't know me, but I've been longing to speak with you for a while now. My name is Etta. I'm an adventurer like you, though I'm not very good at being one, if truth be told. Anyway, I was adventuring with my friends in Gridania I'm sorry, we were in Gridania when the leader of our party was killed. His name was Aver, and he and I were to be wed in the spring. You may not remember him, but to say that he remembered you would be an understatement. He would sing your praises from dawn to dusk. He saw you for what you are, you see, an adventurer's adventurer, and swore that he would be like you one day. I have no recollection of this person at all. I believe that he would have succeeded had a fiend not robbed him of the chance. Since that day I have thought long and hard about giving up adventuring. But then when I think of what a man you are, and all you've achieved, I find that I'm inspired just as Aver once was. And so I've decided to start again as an adventurer. I'll go back to the village of my birth and begin training anew. But I wanted to meet you first to ask you your name. Bond. No, I'm just kidding. Tiberius Fox. I shan't forget. Thank you, Tiberius Fox. I pray that we will meet again. Fare you well. Adventuring sure can be cruel bleeding business. Time was, I didn't know why anyone would bother. When they first asked me to take charge of the guild here, I didn't want aught to do with you lot, though I thought it'd be a right pain in the arse looking after you all. But against my better judgment, I've decided to accept the post, and I'm full glad I did. I feel privileged just to be a part of your lives. And that goes double for you, Tiberius. Well, that's nice, small red-headed girl thing. What'd you say? You want to know about the signs of the Seventh Dawn? They're beginning to move in earnest, then. Listen, Tiberius, Scions ain't no ordinary folk, and the work they do ain't no ordinary work. I know full well how capable you are, but even you would think twice about attempting some of the stuff they do. Knowing that, if you're still certain you want to get involved, I'll tell you what I can. Tell me now. Do you want to know more, do you? Well, ain't that a surprise, I swear. If I painted certain death on one door and limitless wealth on the other, 9 out of 10 adventurers would go through the first, and the other bloke wouldn't be able to choose on account of being old on. Anyway, don't say I didn't warn you. First of all, if you're wondering whether you can trust these Scions of the Seventh Dawn, you can. They're good people who have made it their mission to solve some of Eorzea's most pressing problems. Of course, that ain't no small task, and so they're always looking for dependable individuals to join them. Individuals like you, Tiberius. So now, I've been given leave to tell you where you can find the Scions, but you must promise to keep this information to yourself. As you can probably imagine, it's something Eorzea's enemies would very much like to know. The Scions are headquartered in Vesper Bay, out in western Thanalan. The place you're looking for is called the Wakened Sands. Give your name to whoever's at the entrance, and you'll be let in. You're a man in demand, Tiberius, and the days ahead promise to be busy. But I hope you won't forget about them as I helped you into make you adventurer you are. Drop in and tell them how you're faring from time to time. You hear? Right? Well, I've said my piece. Off you go. Awakened Sands, man, I don't think we'll ever... Man, I can't imagine us going out this way like once or twice. That's gotta be all. Why, is that another man with Amon's hat? Another man with Amon's hat? This man doesn't understand the power he wields. That's okay. I can't remember the last time I saw somebody else with Amon's hat. It's been quite a while. But, you know, some people... They hold the power in their hands, like a Power Ranger's power coin, and they just don't know what they wield, you know? Anyways, being that I'm starting to half fall asleep anyway, because this recording took way longer than the first one on account of, like, queue times and everything, probably get to where the Waking Sands, I'll talk to Tataru, and then I will, you know, we'll call it there. I was gonna mention one thing I did mention in the other video as well, is that Tataru, I was surprised. I played through all Dawn Trail and I kept thinking Tataru was gonna show up, and she never showed up. Because the outfit my guy wears is like the one that she gives you at the beginning of Endwalker, and then another one I really like is the one that she gives you at the beginning of Shadowbringers. And I thought she would show up at some point, like just as a side character or like mentioned, but then like the main characters became side characters and she just never showed up at all. And I was like, oh, okay. But, well. Oh, was a bird. A lot of times when people fly over, I see their shadows because it's somebody on a mount, but not this time. But yeah, I just was surprised not to see Tataru at all. So when I run into her, when I got to the Waking Sands yesterday, or when I recorded, I was like, oh, it's Tataru. It's almost like I'd forgotten she existed because I didn't see her the entirety of Dawn Trail, and Dawn Trail was so long. I really do remember just like sitting here sometimes in this area waiting for friends to get online, or like waiting for a dungeon, and just like sitting on a rock with people like these dudes right here, waiting for just anything to happen. There's so much like, I don't know, environment, I don't know what you want to say. There's just so much vibe, so much feeling in the way that some of these zones are designed that you can just enjoy just being in them. I'll spend a ton of time in Vesper Bay just sitting around too, waiting for stuff. Deep in the desert of my heart, a lonely flower blooms, yearning for the heavens above, to quench my thirst for you. Tra-la-la-la-la, la-la-la-la-la. It's more singing than my wife can even get me to do. Ah! I think I did a better job though, yeah, last time, but you know, it is what it is. I would thank you not to sneak up on me like that. Now, please be advised this is private property. Unless you have a pertinent business here, I must ask you to. Yeah, I'm the guy. Here at the behest of Vira and Papalimo? My sincerest apologies. May I please have your name? Tiberius Fox. Tiberius Fox. Ah, here you are. I bid you welcome to the Waking Sands, headquarters of the Science of the Seventh Dawn. My name is Tataru, and I look forward to assisting you during your time with us. The antecedent is within the solar. I shall let her know you are expecting you. Or know to be expecting you? Okay. My last point is that I mentioned yesterday was that if you go in there, you can run into Urianger, like original Realm Reborn Urianger. He's just standing there trying to give you the missions for the hard versions of the trials, and he's still there. Doesn't matter how long it's been. Like, you think he'll leave after you complete them or something? He doesn't. He's still standing there after everything that happens in the Waking Sands. He's still there. Anyway, so for this, we're going to call it. This is where the last one ended. This was where this one's going to end. I thank you for your patience and all my flubs and everything else. So hopefully this one will be better quality than the last one. Like I said, I will include a link to the other one in this one, but I'm just going to leave it unlisted otherwise. So thank you all for watching, and San Dimas High School Football rules, and until next time.